go ahead and get started. I think I can handle this, at least the beginning part by myself. Okay. Okay, here's what we're going to be going over today. We're going to talk very, very briefly about just defining OER and a very, very small amount about why, we might want to choose OER. I don't want to spend too much time on it because you all are here. And so I think you're already convinced. I don't need to, do any convincing. So we're not gonna spend too much time on that. We'll talk a little bit about where or how to use OER, talk about some best practices when we're using openly licensed materials. And then we're going to spend the majority of the time looking at different repositories, different websites where you can find materials. Hopefully everyone will leave with at least one new resource that they can use in their class. And that's our goal today. And I put questions at the end. We have a real small group today, so I think we can go ahead and you can just ask questions as you go. You can either type them in the chat, or you can just go ahead and unmute yourself and speak out. That should be perfectly fine. And I see the question here. Yes, I'm going to be sharing the slides. I do have the PowerPoint document somewhere. I'll find it for you as we go. But there is something that I want to share with you now. Let's see. Let me let everyone in here before I put this in here, because I'll just have to share it again. There is a document that has all the links. So we're going to be looking at some different resources, some different websites. And so you have those links. If you're at your computer, if you can go ahead and just open up that document, and then you can work along with us as we go. Also, I see that some of you are introducing yourself in the chat. That's great. But please be sure that your first and last name appear in the participants area. So you just want to kind of hover over your name there. And I see there's one person that doesn't have a first and last name. And then just click the three little dots, and then you can choose rename, and then just type your first and last name. And then that way we have a record of who's here. And also, if you are part-time faculty, you will get paid for participating today. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Let's see here. Hold on. Oh, went too fast. Okay. I think my thing is freaking out a little bit here. Okay. Let me just start here, and we're going to talk really, really quickly about what OER is. You probably, are very familiar with that acronym. Another acronym that you may have heard also is ZTC. So I just want to make sure that everyone is familiar with what these two acronyms mean. So OER stands for Open Educational Resources, and that refers to the license of the material. So whenever any author or artist creates a work, whatever they create in the United States automatically has a copyright on it. Okay, so if someone writes something, or they make a song or a piece of art, then it's copyrighted. It's protected by copyright. However, a lot of authors and writers and artists, especially for writers of textbooks, want to share their materials freely. They want to make them open, and they want to make them available for anyone to use. So they put what's called an open license on it, and we're going to talk about the open licenses in just a second. So that's what that's referring to. It's talking about the, when we talk about open or we talk about OER, we're talking about the license. Now, sometimes there could be a small cost associated with this. For example, if you have an OER textbook that you are providing for your students, but you want them to have a printed copy of it for some reason, for whatever reason. You might go through your bookstore to have the bookstore printed and sell it to the students, or you might just have the students, print the pages at their own expense or through the library, straight from Canvas. So, there could be some expense with that. When we're talking about ZTC, that means zero textbook cost. So what that is supposed to be is that there is no cost to the students. The materials actually could be copyrighted, but for whatever reason, there are a few reasons, we're going to talk about them in just a second. The students do not have to pay for those. And then there's also, I want to really quickly address fair use, because fair use is really very difficult to work around. If you are trying to use some kind of commercial resource, and you want to use a part of it, a certain percentage of it, or some pages of it, and you're calling it fair use because you're not using the whole thing, you probably are breaking the law. Okay, a good example of fair use would be at the beginning of the semester, when you have, required your students to buy a textbook before they get a chance to get to the bookstore, before they get a chance, to get their copies ordered and delivered. You might print the first chapter of that textbook, and then you distribute it to the students that you have in class. That would be a case of fair use because you're not replacing the student's purchase of the textbook. So the students are going to go ahead and buy it. So you're free to make copies and give it to them in that way. So, it's really difficult to use fair use if we're trying to have free materials for our classes. Okay. What are open educational resources, teaching and learning materials that are freely available for anyone to use, adapt, and share, typically under an open license? And I really want to emphasize the Creative Commons license, that little CC that you see on a lot of license. That indicates, it's not the only way to indicate an open license, but it's the most common one that we see in textbooks. These are all the different CC licenses that you will see. And I don't want to spend too much time on this. We do have workshops that I can send you the whole hour-long workshop that goes into a lot of detail on these licenses and explains each one. But basically, the little person with the by, that means that if you are using the material that has this license on it, you have to attribute. Okay, you have to say the author or the organization that published it. And then if you have the essay, that means share alike. So that means that if you're going to use it or you're going to share it, then you have to use the same license. You can't change the license. When you see the NC with the little $sign that's crossed out, that means that it's you cannot charge for that. It's no cost. Okay. And then you can have different combinations of those. And then we get down to the materials that are not considered open, but still could have a CC license on them. And that's when you have the little ND, no derivatives. It means that you can't edit. So most of the materials that we're going to be looking at today, you're going to come across, they're going to have one of these more open licenses. And so that's going to tell you what exactly you can do. If you're still confused, if you just want to distribute and give these materials to your students, you really don't have to worry too much about it. You probably should copy and paste the license information. And, a lot of times it is already printed on the pages, so there's really nothing that you have to do. You really only have to worry about this if you're going to be editing or kind of what's called remixing the materials together with other materials. Then you have to be a little bit careful. But the OER lead at your college can help you out with that if you have questions. Okay, let's see. Okay, and then zero textbook cost. So I mentioned that these are materials that they might have they might be copyrighted, but they are free to give to students. So those would be things from the library. So anything that is in your college library that your students have access to, you can link to them, or you can download the PDF copy, depending on how they are stored in the library's databases, and you can use those for your course materials. Those are all, not, again, they're not free because the students have paid for them through their student service fees, but the students individually don't have to pay for them. Also, anything that's on a website that's free, you can link to that, and you can provide that to your students. Also, class sets. Some of our departments have class sets that are purchased by the college. And so, someone is paying for those, maybe a grant, or maybe, your department is paying for those, but the students aren't. And so that's considered zero textbook cost. And then I also put on here writing your own. So, this is something that we're all doing. Anytime you write an assignment and you put it in Canvas, you are creating a course material. So I encourage you to kind of think about that, and incorporate some of these free materials and some of these open materials into your Canvas modules, into pages and assignments, so that your students can have some free material, even if the entire course is not 100% free. Okay, really quickly, I know you're all convinced already, so I'm not gonna talk about this too much, but I did want to show some disaggregated success rates. This is from Fresno City College, and this is now it's a little bit old, over a year old now, but we looked at courses that are ZTC, and then success rates, and then success rates in courses that are not ZTC or LTC. The district definition of LTC is under $40. So these are going to be your traditional textbooks that cost over $40. And we just compared success rates. And you can see that for all students, they did a little bit better, pretty significant, but still, not huge. In the ZTC courses. But when you look at some of these special populations, the African American males, the Hispanic males, the Asian Pacific Islander males, even the multi-ethnicity males, you can see that they're doing quite a bit better in the ZTC courses than they are in the non-ZTC courses. Okay. So if this is something that you are, you're trying to improve your success rates, you're trying to get your department success rates to go a little bit higher, this is a good strategy to use to decrease the cost of textbooks. These are results that are not unique to Fresno City College. These kind of results have been shown in many studies, in four-year institutions, two-year institutions, all across the country. And this 2018 survey of students explains why. So what this was, it asked students if in their college career they have ever done any of these. Okay, so almost 65%, and these are students in four-year and two-year institutions across the U.S. 65% didn't purchase a textbook for a course that they were enrolled in sometime in their college career, because of the high cost of textbooks. Almost 43% took fewer courses because of the high cost of textbooks. For a little over 40% did not register for specific courses because they're looking at textbook cost. Almost 36% earned a worse grade because they couldn't afford the textbook, and almost 23% had to drop a course because of the cost of the textbook. So, if you think about your students, how they might, have purchased a textbook in the past for a course that they really didn't end up using. And so they don't want to do that because they frankly can't afford it. So they might stay in your class, even though your textbook is required and you need it, but they might, take a gamble. And try to see if they can pass the class, if they're able to stay in the class without purchasing the textbook. And so this is why we see in a lot of these populations a lower success rate, lower success in GPA. Okay. What we're going to be talking about today is thinking about how you can do something called backwards mapping of your SLOs and objectives in for your course design. And a few more people have popped in. I'm going to put the document here again in the chat. So you want to go ahead and open that up. And so, choose a course that that you're teaching or that you will be teaching. And what you want to do is to find the SLOs, find the objectives, find what you want the students to learn in the course based on that course outline of record. Once you do that, then you're going to be thinking about your assessments. Okay, so how are you going to test that students have learned what they're supposed to learn in your course? So once you think about your assessments, then you're going to look for materials that are going to help students pass the assessments. Okay. And then finally, you're going to get those materials and you're going to deliver them to your students. And you can do that in many different ways. One is just simply by creating your Canvas modules and, linking or pasting the information there. Especially if it's a face-to-face course, you might want to make a packet, a course packet that you can have students either access digitally or you can print for them. Fresno City College, we have a production center, so we can get our course packets printed for free. So that's what, you should be kind of thinking about as you're looking for materials. Okay, how to attribute the sources. So TASL is the acronym that we need to remember. When you are providing openly or open education resources for your students, you want to make sure that you give them the title, the author, the source. So if it's hosted on a website, it'll be like the URL, and then the license. And think about those little pictures that we saw of the CC licenses. All of that information is what you should be citing when you give your students these materials. I have the open attribution builder, and there is a link there on the document that takes you to it. And it's if you've ever used EasyBid, it's very similar. It's this website. You just fill in all the information, choose the license, and then you just hit return, and it creates a professional looking license for you. So this license, sorry. This down here at the bottom, this was created. It's attribution for this open attributions builder, but it was created by the open attributions builder. So it has the hyperlinks here, it has the license. And so this is what you would want to have. However, like I said before, a lot of times when you're looking for OER in some of these repositories that we're going to show you, the license is and the attribution is already on there, so you really don't have to do anything except just copy and paste. Okay, finding OER, where to look for high quality OER. Linda, do you have your document ready to go, or you want me to control it?
Yeah, I can share.
Okay.
Okay, let me get this going. Okay, I hope everyone can see the slide. Perfect. I see thumbs up. Okay, great. Yeah, hi everybody. My name is Linda Kawashigawa. I am a librarian at Fresno City College and also the OERI liaison for FCC. So I'm going to be talking, or actually running through a pretty substantial list of OER resources of where you can find high quality. There's a lot more out there than what we're going to even show you today, but just know these are the ones that we kind of look to for the best OER, the highest quality OER that we have available to us. And Sally, feel free to jump in with any of your knowledge on some of these sources. So the first place that we always recommend folks to start with is the ASCCC OER initiative, which is the OERI, which is what I'm the liaison for. Sally served as the liaison and area lead for the OERI as well, and it is operating under the Academic Senate for California Community Colleges, and they help a lot with those ZTC degree program grants. They also have some projects of their own that faculty use to develop new OER or different revisions and adaptations of OER. So the OERI was created in 2018, and it's specifically for faculty within our system. Let me show the website. So this is the website here that you would go to. And again, these are a curated list of resources that are specifically being used in the California community colleges now. And they have a wealth of other resources that will help and support OER adoption, creation, and remixing and all of those things. Let me see if the link will work. And I can show you a little bit of the website because this again is our go-to and a really great resource for anything related to OER, not just finding your materials, but all kinds of resources. You can access those using the top drop-down buttons. They have their curated OER collections as their first stop here. And you can basically search, I usually go by discipline, but if you have a specific CID, you can use that as well. I'm going to click on OER by discipline, and all the individual discipline collections are listed here in alphabetical order. So because I'm a librarian, I'm going to go to the OER for library. And you'll see different OER that are listed here: Intro to College Research, Information Literacy, Foundations of Library Services, and it just gives you a brief overview and the license for each of these. And what's nice about each of these discipline pages is they have also curated archive webinars. So these are all the ones that are available for library. Some of the other subjects that have quite a few will also have their archived webinars, and the OERI archives all of its webinars, not conversations. So if you've engaged in any of their live conversations, those are not, or discussions, I think they're called. Those are not recorded, but everything else is pretty much recorded, and you can watch and look through all those webinars if you go up top to webinars and events. It's going to show you some things that are upcoming and their full archive of them. So whatever you're interested in, if you want to look for, specific things related to art history, you can do a search for that, and it'll show you when it was held and what it was about. So a really great resource for everybody. All right. So they are also available on Canvas Commons. So you would just basically go into Canvas Commons. You can search for ASCCC OERI, or you can search for specific OER. Many of them have Canvas shells that have been created, or modules that were created around some of this OER. And the OERI does have quite a few of its resources that are available in Canvas shells. And then you can also check the license when you go into each of these to see how they can be used. Okay, the next group is going to be the complete textbook repositories. So these are actual repositories that carry the material in them. So Open Textbook Library, it is well, I guess this one's technically a referatory. So it links to materials that are from different authors, different publishers, instead of housing them in the platform. So there may be some redundancy between what's in Open Textbook Library and some of the other ones. It's supported by the Open Education Network, which contributes and publishes lots of studies about OER, contains about 1,600 open textbooks. I know this slide says 1,000, but I will say even if you've looked for OER, or now it's about 1730. And my notes are from the beginning of this semester. So that's how many more OER have been added to this repository. So even if you've looked last year, maybe last semester for OER and you didn't find very much, continue to look because there's constantly OER being published or found and added to these repositories. There might just be something new that you hadn't seen and had been published in the last few months. So the majority of books in Open Textbook Library, they've been reviewed by faculty at institutions who are members of the Open Education Network. The books are usually given an overall rating. I'm going to click into one of them just to see, let's see, mechanics of materials. Some of them may be newer, so they might not have reviews, but you'll see an overview about the contributors. Usually the reviews will be down at the bottom and you'll be able to read them. They're based on a rubric that everyone uses to do that. Subjects include across the board business, computer science, engineering, bio, math, law, social sciences, pretty much any subject that you can think of. There should be material in Open Textbook Library. And again, primarily textbooks are in this one. I'll show you a few other, I keep thinking I need to switch my screen, but I just need to go back to the tab. I'll show you some other ones that are not just textbooks that have other kinds of materials in them, in addition to full textbooks. OpenStax. OpenStax is probably, it's a very well known from Rice University. It's one that you may have seen. They have really great printed textbooks as well that just look really great and professional and all of that. And you can order those for a low cost. All of the titles in OpenStax are peer reviewed by educators. They ensure things like readability, accuracy, they meet requirements for the specific courses they're written for, things like that. Let's see how many titles they have, because that last I looked, it was 40. So it's a smaller collection, but again, these are well used across colleges, including our college. Many of our, I think, biology instructors and some of our social science instructors use OpenStax books. They partner with OER Commons, so you can find materials created in Canvas and other learning management systems that kind of integrate directly with that with the OpenStax book. So if I click on any of these, let me click on this college success one. There's quite a few instructor resources that you can access. So different PowerPoint slides that go with it, a test bank that might go along with it, and various lesson plans and customization. Here's the Canvas course cartridge that you can just import the book into your course. So OpenStax comes with quite a few ancillaries, I guess, resources that can support the textbook itself. And you can also search for OpenStax courses within Canvas Commons. They're in there as well. Just search OpenStax in the title of the book and it'll pop up. All right, so the next one, oh, there's the screenshot of OpenStax in Canvas Commons. The next one is SUNY textbooks or Open SUNY textbooks. So this, again, smaller repository. It's maybe got like 1 to 4 titles within each subject. You can browse subject or search specifically what the kind of subject of the book you're looking for. Uh-oh, my browser's not reaching it. I remember having trouble with this. I thought I fixed the link. Maybe I didn't.
Yeah, let me see if I can find it. Because I remember this, yeah, this came up before.
Yeah. I wonder if I Google it. So here we go. Oh, Milne, they changed the name. Yeah, so they changed the name. So it's Milne Open Textbooks. But essentially, you can, again, browse by subject. The list will look kind of like this, and then you can kind of select what you want to read. Again, smaller repository. What's significant about SUNY or makes it kind of unique is that the books are only added if they are original work, usually by SUNY faculty, or if there is a significant adaptation of that work, so that it makes it almost a new kind of work. So you can find maybe unique exclusive material in Milne open textbooks. That's what it's called now. Okay. Okay, BC Open Collection. This one also used to be called BC Campus Open Ed, but BC Open Campus is BC Campus, same thing. So it's supported by BC Campus, which is a Canadian government agency. It supports colleges and universities across Canada. Textbooks in here have to have Canadian relevance. So there's going to be a Canadian focus in the material, so just something to know about those materials. But they're reviewed by accessibility. They have pretty high accessibility standards, and so that's something that's really helpful. And also, these materials are openly licensed, so you can take one and adapt it. It has a really nice interface. You can kind of browse the different subjects, and you can see some of the focus here is engineering. They've got quite a few business communication studies, or I'm sorry, materials, and then quite a few things in math and social sciences. So very easy to browse and find materials that you are looking for. Okay, MIT Open Courseware is a really cool resource that it's been around for a really long time, but I hadn't learned about it until I think about last year. And oh, thanks for sharing that, Sally. It's essentially MIT's I guess, initiative to basically make all of their courses and those materials freely available to anyone. So it's kind of cool. We'll go in there. You can search it. You could go to Explore just to see what's out there. Again, it listed in my slide, there's about 2,500 different courses that have been added to their OpenCourseWare. So you can kind of go through the different departments, the levels or the specific topics, or again, just search for information or search for the subject that you're teaching and see what's available. So really great resource here. And again, everything is openly licensed. So it's available for you to use freely and adapt how you would need to. Okay. Aggregated repository. So these are going to have a more variety of types of materials. Skills Commons is, I think, the primary one that we refer CTE courses to. So any HVAC, manufacturing, food service, welding, those kinds of subject areas. You can search based on the industry. There's a wheel that you can select, or the industry code, as well as the credentials that the program is providing to students, or even just material type if you want tests or full textbooks or entire courses, you can browse and limit that way. Again, just lots of filters, lots of different ways you can search as well. All right. Cool for Ed. So, Cool for Ed may not sound familiar now, but it'll be very familiar by the time all of our ZTC program or degrees are created, because this is where they're going. They're going to be deposited into this Cool for Ed repository. So it's got lots of different materials, books, modules, assignments, full courses, and different assessments and ancillaries. It's sort of an extension of Merlot, if you're familiar with that. That huge OER database. But Cool for Ed looks a little bit different from how I remember it, but you can also search Merlot Skills Commons. They're sort of related. So Sally, correct me if I'm wrong. Cool for Ed is managed by the CSU system. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
right.
Perfect, yeah. And so you can search by course ID if you need to do that. Look at faculty showcases, but if I just click on CID course materials, I can just find my subject and then select, let me do child development. It's got 2 CIDs for these 2 courses, and so I can select which one. This one has 13 materials, and then find all the materials that are being used. And you can see there are ratings here, how many, it's counting how many colleges are using it, what the license is, different evals, and also accessibility evaluations. So all of those have something like that available in them to help you kind of choose and select what you're going to use. Okay. I think, do you have anything to add to this one?
Well, just a quick note about that. So like Linda said, this is the one that all of the state funded grant materials that are right now in the either have been written or are kind of in the process of being written. Eventually, this is the it's called a referatory because it doesn't really hold the materials. It just like links out to them. So this is where they're all going to be. And so, the goal is by the end of 2026 that the first semester of courses is going to be for these zero cost degrees is going to be available on this referatory. And then every semester after that, the next semester of courses, and then the next semester of courses. And so this thing is going to just, in the next 2-3 years, it's going to explode. So this is going to be a good one to, have bookmarked if you're looking for materials.
Yes, thank you, Sally. Yeah, absolutely. And you can see people are already adding things. These are all linking out to where they're housed. Okay, yeah, so that's Cool for Ed. Open Oregon has various materials. So this one doesn't have just OER. It's got resources that faculty at different Oregon, or I think it's Oregon State, different Oregon universities and colleges are using to make their courses zero cost. So it can include library resources, and it will tell you as well. So if I go to search, oh, I just need to scroll down. You'll see some of the links that they provide. If it's an openly licensed material, usually they'll just link directly to the resource. If they're getting it through the library, like the library was able to purchase a license or something like that, it'll say available via library. Just one thing to note, if something looks interesting to you, and it says available via library access, check with us. Check with your college library and see if that book is either available or something that they can purchase. Okay, OER Commons. OER Commons is another one of these huge referatories. So the resources aren't actually housed within OER Commons, but it links out to quite a few of them. And what I like about OER Commons is you can just kind of do a really broad search if you wanted to, and update based on or limit based on your college level or education level, any standards that you might need to keep in mind, and do a search for that. And it's got quite a few different filters in there. You can also limit to the material type as well as the license type. So if you know you're only going to want to use something where you can make any edits you want to it, or maybe you're fine with using something that you can just share and not have to do any remixing, you can limit to those, and especially the material type. So again, you can limit to, I just want textbooks, I want an entire course, I'm only looking for a homework assignment, those kinds of filters. Okay, and LibreText. LibreText might sound familiar. We've done several workshops with them over the years. They're a really great resource. I think they are, they won the bid for something at the state level. I can't remember what that was. Do you remember, Sally?
Not, I know they did, but I can't remember what it's called. But
Okay.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so you'll probably be hearing more about LibreText, and a lot of our faculty have used it specifically to create or remix their own OER. So we have quite a few folks in communications and child development who have been using LibreText because they have a really robust remixing tool where you can, you know, grab pages and import things and also add interactivity into your book through LibreText. So really great resource. At the time, I kind of created this PowerPoint. There were about 400 textbooks. I don't know how many there are now, but again, these kinds of sources are always adding materials to them. So you can scroll through, view some of the textbooks. What's also really nice about LibreText is that it supports I'm going to say this wrong. Is it H5P? It's got the system called Adapt. And they use this H5P kind of tool where you can create your own assessments and again, interactivity. You can do things like matching games or quizzes or crossword puzzles even. So they have a great platform to create and also make your course very interactive. Um, so I clicked on view textbooks and I'm seeing every single one. So it's quite a few. I would say they have 3,300 books. Wow, okay. Again, you can use your limiters or just do a broad search for the topic that you want to research. And they do have, I will mention the founder is a faculty member at one of the UCs and is always willing to do some kind of training or send his people to come do training or even troubleshoot or answer your question himself. So they have a really great support. Okay, I think this is the last one I'm going to recommend is Oasis Geneseo or Geneseo. It looks kind of similar to I think it was Open Oregon maybe, or no, BC Campus. In the way it's laid out. Again, links to different types of materials in here. You can see it pulls from quite a few different sources. It's got a ton of records, a ton of materials that it has included in here, and it kind of just helps you browse based on type or type of material that you can use. You can also just search for the specific subject or type of content that you're looking for. So it's pulling from a lot of universities. It's pulling from like BC Campus, so you'll see some duplication there, and from LibreText, but it's also got other things like TED Talks and those kinds of resources as well. All right. Let me see. Oh, additionally, you can search, I'm just trying to see what's in the chat. If I need to answer questions. Okay. Am I good on time? Okay, I got 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so Google Advanced Search too is a really great way, and you can to search for OER as well. I found some things actually through Google that were in some cases more relevant than the things that I found in some of the repositories or referatories. So again, just based on my search terms and then taking advantage of the advanced search features and filtering by license will make it easier. You will want to check, just double check, because not everything that Google's going to throw at you is actually going to be openly licensed, or you have to go read the fine print. But if you have questions about any of that or where to find the license on something, you can always reach out to me or Sally, and we'll be able to help you with that. But using those advanced search features and identifying the usage rights may also be very helpful. And then in addition to OER, I know in some cases we have faculty who can't find everything they need in an openly licensed resource. So they take advantage of library resources. So these aren't anything that you can edit or remix or anything like that. But they are available for you to provide to students as a reading. You can use a chapter from something. You can link out to it in the database, or download the up to the page limit that the database allows you to, and use that in your courses. I know quite a few faculty, I think in either it's computer science or somewhere in the business division, use O'Reilly because it has quite a few technology and software focused materials in there. So O'Reilly's a really great resource, as is EBSCO and eBook Central, and you can find all of those books in our OneSearch catalog. All right. And that's how you'll get to it on the library website. And you can limit in our online catalog to open access. And again, those will be materials that are freely available for you to share with your students. Whether or not you can edit them may be something that you have to investigate a little bit, but open access means freely available. You can give your students a copy of all of it so they can read it and use it in class. Okay. And then these are some open media collections that there's quite a few more that have cropped up, not included in here, but I will say I use Library of Congress quite often. I use Unsplash images quite often, and these are Unsplash, those are great like stock type images as well. So there's lots of different resources for embedding media, updating the images or the pictures in your OER too. All right.
Yeah, so let's just take a few minutes here and give you a chance to kind of search around. Feel free to ask questions if you're looking for something very specific. If you're looking for something that is going to hit on one of those objectives, course objectives, or something in your course that you are specifically looking for that you need to teach. And if you are having problems finding it, we might be able to help you out. And I'm gonna, just in case, I think everyone probably has it, but I'm gonna put the document in the chat one more time. Something to make psychology more interactive. You're on mute. You're muted, Linda. You're talking.
Sorry, yeah, I was just remarking. That's interesting. Maybe LibreText.
Yeah, looking in there, I didn't see much.
They do have a library. I mean, you can look in Adapt, right, to see like some of the activities and assessments. I
Yeah,
think you have to have an account.
Yeah, I'm almost thinking to look in OpenStax because I know they have a lot of uh the psychology textbooks and they'll have some options there.
Yeah, we use their
I don't
book.
know how exciting or interactive, they might be, but they do have all their ancillaries, so there might be something there.
Yeah, and we use the OpenStax. I've poked around in there, but I just haven't found anything really specific or anything that I could use to, like maybe like a vocabulary game that can help to build their vocabulary or something like that. I haven't really found anything. So I'm just looking for that type of thing.
Do you have is it there a specific course that you're looking for?
I teach intro to psychology,
Okay, so that is, what number is that?
Psych 1000.
That's the new number, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Darby, no. English, especially transfer English, English C1000 has probably the most number of OER of any course. So how to choose. Um, you could talk to a couple of people who are using books and see what they're using. Maybe to get started, you could just kind of randomly search through and, see if there's something that you like the format of and kind of go from there. But yeah, you could spend a year looking through all those C1000 books.
For the psychology question earlier, the ASCCC has suggestions. Some of it is like tools that you can use to create your own, but it does link to right below the the books. It's got additional resources, and there are some that if you expand those, they have teaching tools, more psychology content that might have some interactivity.
And where is that? I don't think I have that link.
I put it in the, is that the right one? Oh yeah, I put it in the chat. But I can let me grab that.
Okay, it is 5:30. And I don't mind sticking around for a couple more minutes, but not too late. I want to get home and eat dinner. Um, so are there any last questions? Um, okay. Just really quickly before we go, I just wanted to draw your attention to the very last slide. I have listed the OER leads for the different colleges. So, don't hesitate to reach out to them with any, and yeah, I know Antoinette is very busy, but she is technically the OER lead at Madera. And yeah, so we're all doing um, the workshops for this week, and so these are all your contacts. If you're going to workshops, and you'll run across all of us, and yeah.